Hi everyone, welcome back to Scrump Builds. Today we're working on our Gemini house, and I gotta be upfront. Geminis are really difficult for me to read, like in real life, and so this house I really struggled with. I don't know if I love it, but we're gonna see. As you can see, we have sort of this split thing going on, and the reason being is I'm basing all of these builds off of an astrology book that I have, and they said that one of the cities for Geminis is San Francisco. So we're doing this based off of the San Francisco row houses, except they're pretty skinny. They're like, small, compact, and you rarely ever see them by themselves. So for a Sims build, I thought it would be cool to have the exterior look like it's two row houses next to each other, but in reality, it's actually one home. So that's what we're doing right now with the construction. I thought it would just be easier to create two separate houses and go from there to make sure the exterior looks proper. So right now I am pushing in the little divots for the front door and adding steps. I'm excited about like the exterior construction of this build because it does feel very creative and I think it's cute and accurate. I chose the colors also based off of the astrology book that I have. Yellow was like Gemini's special color. I'll link the book in the description. So I decided to go with pastels because when I think of San Francisco row houses, I think of like bright whites and also pastels, not really jewel tones or deep bold colors. So that's what we have going on here, and we are adding the windows. We need like a bay window. I feel like every time I see a row house in San Francisco, I see a bay window. So these are the ones we're going with. I do have a bone to pick, however, and that is the wood color. I really struggled with the color of these windows. Honestly, I cut out about 20 minutes of footage of me trying to pick the window colors. You might see 2 seconds of that here, but I like the like stained glass look that the actual panes have, so I went with it. We're going with sort of a warmer tone for the yellow house, and then we're adding this fun green accent for the blue house, and that's primarily because I hated the shade of like white gray that's going on for the windows. And then for like the banisters and the, I was gonna say woodwork, I don't really know what you call it, we're going with brown for the yellow house. And you can see that I added paneling on the first level. We're not actually using the first level for living space. We have a garage door on the actual house, but I didn't want, I guess it could have been a 2-car garage, but like a really weird 2-car garage, no? So I just added paneling for the left side house so that it could be aesthetically cohesive, but I didn't really want a second garage since it's only 1 car. Or excuse me, since it's only 1 home. So now we're adding the roofs. I also struggled with the roof color, so I found some inspiration online. I wasn't liking this dark color, so we went with this light beige tan and then a dark sort of greenish roof for the blue house. And now we've moved inside. I am putting the island for the kitchen. Since we have the bay window, I know that I want the dining area to be in that bottom right spot so that it's near the bay window and it's sort of like a breakfast nook. And so the island's not actually going to have seating, it's just going to be a countertop for prep space and to separate the kitchen from the dining room. So as we can see, I'm adding a bench here, but I don't love the retro style. But none of this is like stylistically chosen. This is just to map out what we need for the house. And now we have this sort of back hallway area that's going to have steps, and I do want the basic structure to sort of be mirrored on the other side of the house. My idea is that the homeowners bought both homes, knocked down the walls, and then created like one big house. Is that possible with load-bearing walls? Don't ask me, I am not an architect, I'm simply a visionary. So that's what's happening here, and that's why the two sides look similar. My original idea for the left side, so the right side will be like the public living space, and then the left side will be the bedroom area. So as you can see, I'm adding a bed on the second floor. We have a little desk, and I was thinking that the first floor would be like a really huge closet, and we're making this a little loft area, which I personally love, like a little railing to look over the rest of the bedroom. I think it's great. But we do need to add staircases on the other side to make it truly even, and also to make the second floor accessible. So that's what we're doing here. And these 2 rooms are going to be bathrooms. So we're going to have the public restroom, well, not a public restroom, but you know what I mean, restroom for guests, and then a restroom for the person who lives here or the people who live here. And we're going to go ahead and add all of our doors. I didn't think we needed a little hallway in the closet area, so we knocked down that wall. But honestly, we did a second, like, huge closet-ish area in the Taurus house. Like, the guest bedroom was a second closet, so we might change it, actually. However, we are now returning back to our yellow roots for this home, and we're getting into the designy features of the kitchen space. I like this pastel, sort of calm yellow that we have. I didn't want it to be too bright and, like, cartoony. And then we're doing the, like, in-counter oven. What I hate is that they don't let you put the separate stovetop on top of that oven. Like, it has to be 2 separate spaces. That's really frustrating. So it took me a second to figure out the layout, but this is what we've got right now. Fridge, and then upper cabinetry, having a little small cabinet on top of the refrigerator, and changing my mind again about the layout. And again. But figured it out. A little microwave to make it seem not so awkward that there's nothing above the oven. And then I decided to get rid of that retro bench. I think I want sort of a mid-century modern, like, very simplistic, bright look for this home. And decided to go with a circular table that will allow us to add more seats to this area and make it feel a little bit more, again, like, open. I don't want it to feel crowded. I don't want it to feel too thick and plush. I think this house needs to be very airy. That was the goal. So we have this nice blue table, and we're putting in our windows, again, with the stained glass. I really like it, and I think it fits. I also love this open air little half wall sort of situation that we have. I don't think that's technically called a half wall. I do think it's just a wall, but I like the airy windows. They're from the Salvadora pack. And then we're going with this, again, light and bright wood for the flooring. And then we're putting in our lighting. I like colored lights. I think lights are a great way to add functional decor. I'm a huge fan of functional decor, from lights to mirrors. So the green lights is what we went with, and I think it looks cute. Now onto the bathroom. Don't super love this shower, but I think it's fitting with the subway tile and the, like, bluish greenish thing that we got going on here. And we're putting in these little rugs, which I think it matches the vibe that the dining area has, and we're gonna see if we can make it work and look cohesive. You might be wondering, if I want it to look nice, why did I add that tile? Changed it. Don't worry, we resolved it. So we're going with this sort of, like, light seafoam green tile, and then putting in the doors, and we'll come back and add clutter and everything later, but right now we're just going with the base furniture, which moves us upstairs. So on top of the kitchen and the dining side of the house, we're gonna have the living room area, and I really love the modular furniture for building out really big couches, sofas, sectionals, whatever you want to call it. I think it makes for a great living space. So we're gonna do this greenish, sort of a dark seafoam green for the couch. And I believe this is from the same pack. I think a lot of the modular furniture is great for this particular build. So we have this oval coffee table, and in order for it to fit very snugly into the couch, we're gonna make it a little bit wider and then push it up against the wall so that there's enough walkway for people to actually enter the living space. So again, with our modular furniture, you might hear thunder in the background, but we're gonna keep going because I think that adds ambiance. We have the TV, but look at those windows, y'all. It looks crazy. I really hate window design. It's so frustrating because it'll look good from the inside but look bad from the outside, and vice versa. So what we're gonna do is add some nice curtains to cover the windows so that it doesn't look as crazy. coming back in with the lights because the color of the curtains was a little off and we want to make sure we're seeing it accurately, but we're not going to keep these lamps green. Do not worry. The next move, however, is to figure out our rug once we get rid of those yellow curtains, because why did I think that was going to work? So instead of yellow curtains, we're doing yellow lights, and before the rug, we're going to put in plants. I love greenery. Again, functional decor. It's nice to look at, but it also serves a purpose. Now onto our rug. Again, like, don't ask why I put that original rug down, but we're gonna work something out. I want it to be a pattern to add some texture to the room. However, I don't want it to be too busy and like cheesy. So I think this is a good middle ground, which means we're gonna have to change our lights to a light pink to reflect the colors in the couch, which I personally love the way the colors turned out for this room. And I do like that yellow accent wall. I think it looks great. So now we're gonna shift the couch a bit because again, window design, just frustrating. So we're gonna leave that for now and come over here to the bedroom. And I know I want bluish green for this room, but let me tell you, I think this was the hardest room I've ever designed because I just wasn't feeling inspired. Like, the wallpaper, I do like the green wallpaper a lot. I think it's cute. I think it fits the theme, and that's the only thing that worked. This hexagonal wallpaper, atrocious for this particular room. Like, I just really didn't know what to do. But I do know that I want this green wallpaper to carry down into the stairwell so that it feels continuous. If you were walking up the steps, it would also make the wall feel taller because the wallpaper goes from the first floor to the second floor, and I like the idea of that height as you move into the loft area. Now we have our fences, making sure nobody falls to their untimely demise, and a little desk area to work. Now, I don't want the side tables to be too matchy-matchy, so we're gonna make them white, but I'm also not loving how they look. Now, you might also be wondering, what happened to the closet? We got rid of it. Like I said, it felt a little too similar to the Taurus house, and when I think of Gemini, especially reading my book, they have like a little phrase for each sign, and Gemini's phrase was "I think," and they talked a lot about like communication. So I thought it would be cool for this house to think about the person really liking intellectualism and communication with the masses. So we're doing a little media room. Maybe they like to make videos. Maybe they like to do like a crash course type YouTube series. Who knows? But I really liked the idea of them being into videos and photography. So they have a little studio on the first floor, and then we're moving that desk from the bedroom area, and we're actually going to make a little office and make sure that that area at the top doesn't look crazy. So we're actually going to add a little office, and I think that also speaks to the intellectualism for Gemini. We're going to make sure we put some bookshelves in there, have the desk, lots of like magazines and papers and things for clutter, but we'll get to that. So like I said, some bookshelves for the office area, and then we're going to need to make sure we add a door so that they can go from the office into the studio. And I like that the studio is closed off. I like that there aren't really any windows down there so that unnecessary light isn't coming into the space. Did I lie? Is that a window? Child, don't ask me. Anyway, now we're doing clutter. So I like the idea that we have the like research computer here. We have a journal. We have like letters and magazines and papers, because the person who lives here really likes to learn and they like to share the knowledge that they have. So that's what we're going for with this office, a cute little globe. And then we have this rug, which isn't the best thing in the world. End of sentence. Then we are moving back upstairs for more just atrocious window design. I'm sorry to everybody. It's just really hard to look at. But that's okay. So back to this bedroom. Looking at it is really difficult. So we're gonna change it. Instead of the desk, we're gonna have a little seating area. I love seating areas in bedrooms, and we're gonna have to put a little accent table here. and figure out the color scheme. I didn't like the pillows on the blue chairs, so we're gonna go with these white chairs for now. And another seafoam green table, except it doesn't go with the bedroom. So at this point I got frustrated and decided to leave the bedroom and go back downstairs. And we are going to do the bathroom that's on the first level. So I know that I don't want it to be the exact same. I want it to be a little, I don't know if fancier is the right word, but I want it to feel a little classier than the main bedroom. So we're doing like goldish white and a navy blue theme here, which I think is classy, very nice and cutesy. Back to the bedroom. This house, I should call it the ping pong house. I won't, because why would I name it that? But we just keep going back and forth between rooms because I just wasn't feeling inspired, and I think that really speaks to the Gemini of it all. But we're redoing the bedroom coloring again because it just wasn't working. So we're gonna go for a little bit of a darker, cozier vibe in this bedroom, and I think that will help us pull everything together. On another note, I love that this home is 2 houses put together because Geminis, twins, it's like 2 twin homes, but they are one person, one house, and I think that's super fun. So as you can see, we darkened the room. This wood looks really cherry, which is annoying because they're from the same packs and the other wood doesn't look cherry. Sims, EA, we must talk about the colors. We must talk about the colors that you put into this game. But anyway, so darker wood. These mirrors just were not doing it for me. Like, that is a little too on the nose, this little green curvy ordeal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get rid of it, and we're gonna put a mirror on the wall. It makes the space feel a little bigger. It eliminates the need for wall decor, and it's functional. It's a mirror. And our little our little light over the table, and that's what we've got for the bedroom right now. I think this is as good as it's gonna get. So we're moving over into the game space. We have this cute little, I don't know what you call it. I was gonna say dossier, but that's certainly incorrect. Curio table, sort of, where I imagine they keep board games. And again, intellectualism, we have the chess table. We're gonna have a table for cards and puzzles, and that's what's happening here. So I think this space also speaks to the pursuit of knowledge theme that we've got going on in this home. And right now it's looking cute, and I say to myself, why didn't you stop here? Why didn't you just put up some artwork and keep it pushing? But that's because it's a Gemini house, and Geminis and I, we have beef, and not for the reason most people have beef. It's just, I can't read you all. And so I'm gonna go back and ruin that room right about now. Look at this, y'all, please. We're just certainly gonna get rid of that bright orange and blue nonsense. We have this painting, which is a little better with the coloring, but I did know that I wanted to have this cute little two-way mirror. It's one of my favorite items in the game. So people can look into the living room and see what's happening on the TV, but from the living room, we just have this cute little mirror for a bit of decor. And now onto this little entry space. Very briefly, we have this entry table, a little umbrella rack. We're adding a plant and a key holder. Hampers for the bedroom. We're doing clutter, and clutter is what really makes a house feel like a home. Not to be cheesy, but it's true. It makes it go from model home to a place that people live in, and so it is one of my favorite parts. However, we don't live in the mountains, so we changed the key rack to this little hat and coat rack in the entryway, and we're gonna add these tall plants to add some height to this space and some color, some greenery, which I love. Now for the bathroom, I like the way the master bath turned out, or the primary bath, excuse me. I really like the way it turned out. We're adding our little mirrors because a mirror is a must for the bathroom, and some little wall hangings, and it looks complete. It looks like a place where people can live and actually go shower and use the restroom and do all the things. So now we need clutter in the kitchen. We moved the plant just because it was a little too much plantage happening at once. But we have a little cookie jar and our wooden spoons. We're gonna add some flowers to this room. I promise they look white to me, but they just come out a little yellow. But they're white. Maybe, actually, who knows. And then we're gonna come back to this game room. I don't know what I was up to here, but we're gonna space out our windows. Okay, we're pausing to say I expected there to be more to this video, but I hated what I did to this room so much that I cut it off. So you can see the final product in 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching.